So I watched In the Line of Fire twice because I watched it, and then I watched it again with the director's commentary on. Did anybody else watch it with the director's commentary? She is totally and absolutely powerful. And so much enthusiasm about editing and filmmaking. She did a really good job. She always makes a scene even better than the original scene you've shot. She'll combine some of take 4 and 6 and a little bit of 1 and a hair of 2. That's what a really good editor does. But you don't have to decide all those things if you have Ann Coates.
I was buying some champagne or something.
The Women in Film Legacy Project basically is this wonderful program where we are all about preserving the legacy of women in film, television, radio, digital media. And now we have this wonderful partnership with UCLA where, UCLA has the best archives, film and television archives in the world. And now the Women in Film Legacy archives are housed at UCLA. And we're always changing, we're always trying to grow that, we're always trying to be forward thinking about it. So we're in the process. Very soon you will be able to, even if you're at the UCLA library site, click on and see the interviews that we're in the process of editing now. Eileen K. Power, who is the chairman of the Legacy Project, was someone, not only do I enjoy working with her, when Barbara Boyle brought me on or suggested very strongly that I become a trustee for the Women in Film Foundation Board. Eileen was one of the first people I met. So I was overjoyed to find out that she was also the chairman of the Legacy Committee, because what I really care about is the history of the business. It's what I'm doing my PhD work in. It is what I worry about. How do we preserve this for generations to come? And then when you talk about preserving the most important figures in women, I should say, in film, I don't know how you begin to talk about that without speaking about Ann V. Coates.
That was the biggest compliment I was ever paid, actually, by Sir Carol Reed. You remember the old English director? He said, I worked with a lot of really good editors at my time, he said, but you're the one with the most heart. And that's always stuck in my mind because it was just such a lovely thing to say, and I've always remembered it. But I've I've been lucky enough to have the opportunity to work with really interesting directors. I mean, even from the beginning, when I was first working in England, I worked with interesting young directors. Some weren't so great. I did have a few bad experiences, and they're good for you, actually. They keep you on your toes.
So would you like to screen the scene, and then we'll come back and ask questions in general?
Or looks fairly simple scenes, just a dialogue scene on the steps between the two of them. But in fact, Clint Eastwood, I don't know whether you know this, but he doesn't like to rehearse. And he doesn't, generally speaking, learn his lines the night before, like most actors. He comes in the morning, learns his lines, more or less, and then goes on and says them. So obviously he doesn't learn them perfectly because, he adds little lines here and there, little words here and there. So when you've got a sequence like this, where you've got very careful or difficult matching, because they're eating ice cream, so they've got it up to their mouth, they've got it down, they've got the spoon here, they've down. I mean, it was murderous. So to actually do what you said, actually, is to find the very best performances from Clint and Renee was very, very difficult to find them and match them. And there was sometimes literally one frame that you could cut on, one more frame and the spoon would have come into picture, or they'd have moved the ice cream away or something. Another thing is there's one cut in it which was much more difficult than any of the others, and I'm just interested to see if you pick out which one that is, but actually the most difficult one to do. It's the timing of her walking away before she looks back. I mean, she can walk on and on and on. She can walk a couple of steps. She can walk any distance you like. To get that rhythm and that timing, which is, I hope, is right, is something that you'll never learn. Mm-hmm. It's something, an instinct that you have in you. A sequence like this, you have to really love editing to get the best out of it, because you have to have a lot of patience and really love what you're doing and take the time and look at it this way and that way and not get uptight and irritated because you can't get it right quickly and things. I think it's a very good editing piece for students in that way.